Good afternoon, everybody. Let me not fix my headroom here because I was all over the place on that. Welcome, everyone, to a live edition, brand new edition of Dodgers Territory. We are your host. That is Clint Pasillas. I am Alanna Rizzo. Let's get right to it, Clint. Don't forget, everybody, to like us, subscribe, tell everybody about us. We appreciate it very much. Tube in, as Clint likes to say, on YouTube is wherever you get your podcasts as well. Let's get to the big ticket, my friend.
Let's do it.
All right. So we have a couple things to talk about, of course, over the course of the next half an hour about your Los Angeles Dodgers. My biggest concern is, again, the moves that we're making and the holes that are left, because we have Bobby Miller that goes AAA option. We have Gavin Stone that's been AAA option, or Michael Grove, rather, sorry. And then you get Joe Kelly, of course, that's activated off of the IL. So, again, Bobby Miller, not looking great. Not an answer for me in the postseason, but we're still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, pitching wise, you know what? Let's focus on the positives first a little bit.
The Dodgers, I like that. I'm proud of you.
The Dodgers are scoring some runs right now, and that's what you want this organization to do, score more points than the other team. It's crazy. When you do that, you can win some ball games. Ugly one, of course, in that series opener against the Marlins. But so far, what is it? Bats cooking 26 runs over their last 3 games. A little bit of everybody doing something. I'm calling them Tommy Bombas these days. Everybody's got a different name for Tommy Edman. He's doing big things. Max Muncy's in there. Kike Hernandez absolutely murdered a baseball last night for a homer. There's only kind of one piece that's not doing all that hot, and that's our friend Gavin Lux. So you're in a good spot. If there's one kind of weak point in the lineup, I feel pretty good about that. Where are you at first before we talk Lux? Where are you at with what you're seeing from this offense?
I mean, I like it, the production up and down the lineup. I think that's what you're going to need. I've never hesitated to think that the Dodgers offense is going to score some runs, right? We know they're going to put runs on the board. My biggest concern is, can they stop the opposition from putting runs on the board? So I'm not worried about what the offense can do. We know that there are very few holes in this lineup. I think they've answered the bell as far as the bottom part of the order not being as productive. I think it's gotten a lot better consistently since that was a narrative a couple of months ago. I understand, Lex was the weak link right now, but I still have the utmost faith in what he can do. Obviously, he tweaked his swing over the All-Star break. He worked with his uncle. Things are getting okay again. So I'm not concerned about him. Again, no one's going to be, perfect for the entire season. So I'm not worried about the offense. Again, the pitching staff concerns me a little bit. I know I sound like a broken record. I don't mean to be, but here we are less than 2 weeks until the regular season is over, 2 weeks until the wild card round starts. And I don't know that we have the strength that we need in the best of 5 series.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a real tough spot here because whenever I talk positively about the pitching staff here on the internet, they go out and absolutely they don't even shit the bed. There's diarrhea everywhere on the bed. So I can't, in my good faith and knowing the power that my words have here on the internet to the baseball gods, I don't want to say a lot of positive things, but as we dip into our behind the scenes topics right now, you like what you saw out of Landon Knack last night. He's really just had one stinker this year, and that was against the Atlanta Braves in his most recent start, or his start prior to this Marlins start. And yes, I understand it's the Marlins, so you take it with a grain of salt, but he looked really good. And at some points there, when he found his pinpoint command, it was pinpoint. I mean, you watch the highlights. Jerry Harrison Jr. broke it down last night on the post game. I mean, this kid was dotting every pitch. And when he has those working, yeah, he's not Tyler Glasnow, he's not Yamamoto, he's not an ace in name, but he could be one of those sneaky weapons that sneaks up on a team in a postseason series. So whether they use him as an opener, whether they use him as a starter, or they use an opener and have him in a bulk role, I think Landon Knack could really do some dangerous things in a positive way for this baseball team in October.
One thing I wanted to talk to our audience about too, Clint, and I want to get your opinion on it, is let's talk postseason roster. Obviously, we still don't know if they're going to win the division. We still don't know what seed they're going to be, home field, those types of things. We know that they're going to be in the postseason. So with what you've seen on this roster so far over the course of 162, in addition to what you've seen guys like Chris Taylor do in the postseason, who's on that postseason roster for you as far as like a utility infielder outfielder? Is it CT3 going 2 for 4 over the course of the series? Is it, Andy Pajes? What if you had to choose, who are you taking?
So that battle for that last roster spot, one of Kevin Kiermaier or Andy Pajes or CT3 will not be on the roster. That's just a reality they have to face. I think this team loves what Kiermaier brings to the table in the outfield. I think they need to love what Andy Pajes can bring in terms of potential power. He's got a cannon in the outfield. Chris Taylor looks to be the odd man out, even if he's having an okay September. I mean, they're being very selective about when they start him. But with Chris Taylor, he's you have Kike Hernandez can do everything Chris Taylor can do. You technically have Tommy Edman who can do everything that Chris Taylor can do. So if you have that extra outfielder, if Kevin Kiermaier is a guy who's going to be in center field while let's say Edman plays some short or some second or third, whatever is kind of needed of him, I think having that right-handed bat, the right-handed power bat with Andy Pajes goes a lot further. And he's also absolutely destroying left-handed pitching. And that's what gives him the edge, in my opinion. And this is what I'll ask you, though. Chris Taylor, how that clubhouse, that front office views Chris Taylor. Can they put that love affair with CT3 behind them to put potentially, arguably, a better complete roster out there in the postseason?
I really struggle with this because it needs to be, what have you done for me lately? I mean, if I'm a business owner, I need to make sure you're going with the hot hand and who gives me the best chance to win right now. The other part of me, the human side of me, remembers Chris Taylor coming up so clutch in the 2015, 2016, like postseason time frame. I understand that's many years ago. I get it. But he has had a really good postseason in his history as a Los Angeles Dodger. Co-MVP, I believe, with Kike Hernandez for the NCCS and NLCS, I think. But I love Kiermaier's. I love Kiermaier's defense. To me, Andy Pajes doesn't have the resume yet. So if I'm going to have one odd man out, I mean, numbers, if you look at September, they're almost identical between Taylor and Pajes. Pajes doesn't have the experience. So I'm taking Kiermaier and I'm taking CT3.
I think people in the chat feeling a little bit different. Our friend Diane Schroeder said can't rely on CT3's bat in there. People seem to be liking the Kevin Kiermaier, that option late in the game, because his glove can win you some ball games, especially late in the game. If you need to kind of go with a defensive replacement, let's say Pajes does start against a left-handed pitcher, you got Kiermaier who could close out a game. Jason bringing up that Pajes defense is a little sus. It has been a little sus at times. He's not a center fielder. He's more of a right fielder, is Andy Pajes, but there are times where when he's engaged, he can play a really good outfield, and he does have a rifle for an arm. Did gun down, I forget who, but gun down a runner here in this.
You just brought something up, though. You just said something that is like a buzzword to me. When he's engaged, I mean, shouldn't you always be engaged when you're out there? I mean, I don't. This is not an opportunity. I don't know if you misspoke, or if you think that there's some times where he's not necessarily, fully invested in what's going on. This is the time of year that you better be. I mean, you can't have these mental mishaps. You can't have things like, these games are going to be close. Typically, postseason games are very tight. You can't have a guy that's out there, picking dandelions in the outfield. I'm not saying Pajes is doing that, but I know that Chris Taylor is going to be locked in. I know that there's just a veteran presence with those two guys. I think we have a lot of the same dudes. We have the Tommy Edmans, we have the Chris Taylors, we have the Kikes. We have a lot of the same type of people. By the way, ask Diane if she got her baseballism stuff. I want to know.
Diane, sound that's below. Christopher Navarro says CT 043, not the same player as in the past. So going back to what you said, there's two things we could dive into here, and then we'll move on. But with Taylor not being that guy in the past, you mentioned like this being a what have you done for us lately kind of league, but yet we're still talking about the last big playoff moment for Chris Taylor was in 2001 or 21, and that was a big moment where he walked off against the Cardinals. In the wild card series, that was massively important, but he hasn't really done much since then, really much of anything since signing that big contract. Not to say I don't love Chris Taylor, but when you're looking at trying to put your best 13 position players on a roster that can do some things to help you win a ball game in a short series or even in a longer series in the LCS and the World Series, I don't know. I like the idea of having a rookie, having somebody who hasn't experienced it. Maybe they run into something, kind of the dumb young luck there. And touching on what you had brought up with what I said about the engaged, Andy Paz is but a young boy. He's a kid. He's still a rookie. Sometimes you could tell, like, it gets boring in right field. It gets a little boring.
But that's the guy that you want to run into one. The guy, the
Hey,
young kid, the young buck that you think that he's going
not
to
out
run
there.
into something.
He's not out there every single day. That's the thing I like about it. Having him as an option over Chris Taylor with there's just a lot. I mean, both of them have a lot of swing and miss in their swings, but I think Chris Taylor's swinging and missing at like a 7% higher clip. So if you're looking at diving into the little nuances and the numbers and what does a player bring to the team, yeah, we know Chris Taylor brings a lot. He has some big moments for this organization in the postseasons past, but maybe there's some point in time where you can kind of hand off that mantle to the next generation.
Craig Osterberg says San Diego series will determine roster spots. I mean, it could very well be not only roster spot and, the complexion of what this roster is going to look like, but it could very well be the division. I mean, everyone, we've been saying, oh, Dodgers are going to win the division. Dodgers are going to win the division. But I don't know, and I also don't know if that's what you want. You don't, can we talk about seeding for a second? I know we were probably supposed to do this later in the show. I never follow a rundown. So Mark and Sarah, my bad, but
we're here.
Do we want the number one seed? I don't want to play a freaking team in the NL West.
I love that Joe Davis even brought this up last night, and we got a super chat. We're going to get to that in a second. Thank you very much, Richard. I cannot see this team play the Padres or the Diamondbacks, mainly the Padres, in a short series again. Let us get to, can we advance one round, please, for the love of all that is holy? Cannot play either of those teams. So settle into that 2 seed. I don't need to see this team have the best record in the NL, the best record in baseball. I don't give a shit. I want to see them play the Brewers and do what they do best, which is beat the Brewers in the postseason, and then hopefully whittle down a good Padres team with an extended 7-game series. But don't sleep on those Padres. But my God, do not let it be in the division series. Check out that super chat if we can get it up on the screen there. Richard, I'm going to let you handle it, Alanna. You're a better reader than me.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that very much. I really hope our guys are up to the Padres series. If it means the NL West, it's memorial for little brother. We just don't match their intensity. He's got a point. I don't know that we've had to match the intensity because we've usually kind of handled business with them. As Pedro Martinez says, the Dodgers have been the Padres' daddy. But the thing is, they're just playing with a different bit of intensity this year because they can feel it, right? Like, this is a good Padres team. They just got Joe Musgrove back. They have Yu Darvish back. Jackson Merrill's probably the National League Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Tatis is back. He's not 100% healthy. He's still limping a little bit with that hip issue. I think he has a fracture in his hip still, but they said you could play through it. Obviously what Machado's doing is the franchise leader in home runs. You have, Cronenworth. You've got some guys, and they have they have a great bullpen. They have a grinder manager in Mike Schilt that probably is still pissed off that the St. Louis Cardinals let him go for no flipping reason.
And so trying to, he's fighting for a job. He's fighting to keep his job.
Well, and you know what? And Preller is really good. I've had a lot of conversations with Yonder Alonso, who I work with not only on MLB Network, but also on True TV. And we were actually talking about this on our Whip Around show on Tuesday night, that AJ Preller can, put together a farm system very, very quickly. And they were trying to do some things as fast as possible while Peter Seidler, their owner, was still alive. They were trying to win for him when he still had opportunities to do so. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that we're not privy to as far as the way that franchise has run things. But they are, let's not forget Dylan Cease with the no-hitter this year. I mean, this is a good team. I think the Dodgers, over the history of it, have, they've won the series, and it hasn't been a rivalry, more for San Diego than it is for LA. I don't want to play them in the first round. I don't want to play the Mets right now. I don't want to play the Padres right now. And I would not want to play the Tigers right now. I know we're not playing the Tigers in the first round. Calm down, chat. But my point is, those are the 3 teams that are really, really scary.
Yeah. Plus, it's honestly, it would be better for baseball to get the two, we'll call it a budding rivalry, to get those two teams playing in a 7-game series rather
Mhm.
than a 5-game series. Let it eat, let it breathe. That's what made that showdown with the Braves in 2020. That's what made it so much more fun, I think. And sure, it's a lot more fun because the Dodgers came out on the positive side in coming back from 3 games down 3 games to 1, but it had that breath. It had the time to get to a 7-game series, and that makes baseball a lot more enjoyable.
100%. All right, much more to talk about as Dodgers territory rolls on. Before we get to behind the seams, let's hear from our friends on foul territory: AJ Pierzynski, Scott Braun, Eric Kratz on Navage.
Snoring sucks. So does congestion from sinuses, allergies, or a cold. And you might not even realize how much it's affecting you. FT fam, you need to try Navage Nasal Care. It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah, Kratz, Navage uses that smooth saline flow and nasal suction to clear those nasal passages.
Now I'm breathing easier, which is a pretty big deal in my life. My Navage unit is clearing my congestion fast day and night. I use it twice per day as part of my daily routine.
We want to help you get relief from your congestion too. Our listeners can order a convenient Navage starter pack, including a nose cleaner with batteries included and 30 original salt pods. Everything you need to get started. Plus, get a cleaning kit as a free gift with your order, but only going to our exclusive URL, navage.com/foul, and using our promo code FOUL. Again, to order your Navage free cleaning kit and for full product details, go to navage.com/foul. That's promo code FOUL at navage.com/foul.
All right, Navage, thanks for being here. We're happy that you're on board. Behind the scenes time now. And I don't think there is a rocket ship big enough for the amount of people that you need seats for to send to the moon. Where does Bobby Miller rank on your seating chart?
I realize now I might have a problem. So I appreciate producer Sarah pointing out, she might need to start making a graphic about all the people I have sent to the moon this season. I feel pretty justified in a number of them, but Robert Miller, absolutely. Maybe he needs to go beyond the moon. We need to be looking at Mars. We need to be looking at Pluto, if that's a planet again, because Big Game Bob just did not have it this year. Dave Roberts, after Miller's last game, when Dave has a lot more he wants to say that he's not going to say, pretty much talking about how it looks like it's a lot between the ears for Bobby Miller because the stuff is there, the velo is there, doesn't seem to be anything injury related. Just seems to be between the ears. It's a mental side of something. I had somebody ask me on my show, is he still broken from that loss in the NLDS to the Diamondbacks last year? Whatever it may be, just put the baseball down. Even if they need him this year, I don't want to see him. Like it's better for him to not touch a baseball again until January or something like that. Just watch the postseason as a fan, cheer on your boys, but get the hell out of here when it comes to trying to help, because he has only hurt the team and really he's hurt himself this year. Hopefully this is just one of those really, really terrible sophomore slumps, but an 8.52 ERA. At one point I was wondering, do you even try to transition him to like a bullpen role? Maybe he could help in a 1 or 2 inning role. I don't even want to see that. What do you think? Would you be open to seeing Bobby Miller with this short amount of time left in the season potentially change roles and be a weapon?
No, because I think that there's just too much of a strong learning curve to go from being a starter to being in the bullpen when you're only in your year and a half of big league service time. I mean, I just don't think he's ready for that. I'm with you. I think he should just kind of mentally reset and try to figure things out in the offseason. Only 2 of his 13 starts this year were quality starts. You mentioned the earned run average, 8.5. It just doesn't look good. He was optioned to AAA. Okay, so you don't want to see him, but we could see the Catman. Do you want to see Tony Gonsolin? And if so, what role? He's not going to be ready to start.
Get me Anthony here in a heartbeat. Absolutely. I love that dude. I love that kid. And it's not just because he's been nice to me in the past, but he's also a really, really good major league pitcher when he's healthy. By all accounts, he is healthy. He's about 12 months removed from that Tommy John surgery. I believe he also got the internal brace procedure. He's got that in there. So the elbow, doctor talk is much more gooder. It's much stronger. So if he can be somebody who can help give this team 3 2, 3, 4 innings in a relief role, in a long relief role, as an opener, whatever it may be. I think that's just it's a symptom of where this team is at. It shouldn't
It's to
even
me, it
be.
screams desperation. I think
Yeah,
it's an
because-
absolute sign of holy shit. Who's healthy? Who can throw? Can we piece this thing together with a Band-Aid as much as possible to get past the first round of the postseason? Kershaw's throwing 84 pitch bullpen sessions. That's how many pitches do you need? 84 pitch bullpen session. The man will not be deterred, says Alden Gonzalez with ESPN.
Yeah.
Obviously his arm's okay. It's that damn toe that's holding him back.
The toe, they say there's something else in that foot because, of course, they're never going to be completely open and honest with these injuries. But again, that's just where this team finds itself. Talking about bringing back a dude who hasn't pitched all year long, something that they kind of love to do. They've done it over the last few years, whether it be a Trinan or a Dustin May or Tony Gonsolin in recent years where he's come back from injury. But like you said, it's kind of desperation. It's kind of just a symptom of where you're at. You lost Glass now. We now know Gavin Stone is done for the season. You don't have Kyle Hurt. You don't have an Emmett Sheehan. You don't have a Dustin May. These are the pieces you have left, and you got to figure out how to work through it. And this includes Walker Buehler has not had a good year if you look at any of the numbers, and I'm trying to fish for something where I hope he could piece something together, be that Walker Buehler of old. But still, if you take off your Dodger blue tinted glasses, this is not a very good situation this organization, this front office, this team is in right now.
Is this team this season better constructed than last year's postseason roster?
Yes. That I feel pretty strongly. You had Clayton Kershaw pitching with an actively falling off shoulder as your game 1 starter. Game 2, you had Bobby Miller, deer in the headlights, and then game 3, Lance Lynn, who just gave up another homer. And I love being a dick to him because I know he's a friend of ours here on the Foul Territory Network. But to know that you have Jack Flaherty and Yoshinobu Yamamoto right now that can go out there and open the first 2 games for you, I feel a lot more confident in that. And when you're talking about lineup, it's just you're in a lot better spot to be able to score some runs. You got Ohtani in there and all that. Maybe Ohtani's pitching.
Stop it. I am not throwing Ohtani this year. I don't care what. Because if you're talking about that much freaking panic, and you're gonna risk Ohtani for 2020. No, I'm not doing it. I'm absolutely not doing it. Let's throw that graphic back up there. Here's your postseason rotation options, and Ohtani is not on it. Jack Flaherty, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Walker Buehler. I'm okay with those 3. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but whatever. Landon Knack and then Kersh if he's healthy. I mean, Kershaw will go out there with his left arm amputated if he has to. I mean, that's just how competitive that he is, how effective. You don't need him to go, 10 innings, obviously, but you need him to be able to post, to kind of save the bullpen and be able to put them in the roles that they're going to have the most success in. Again, a lot of this to me depends on the opposition. I don't want to play NL West teams. I don't want to play the Mets, and I don't want to play the Phillies. So I guess I want to play the Brewers. And no disrespect to the Brewers, but for whatever reason in the postseason, the Dodgers have had their number and they can't get past the first round. So it's going to be the battle of the teams that can't get past the first round in the that first round of the postseason, which would be nice.
Absolutely. I think one thing I'll leave us on here is that everybody just needs to keep an open mind. This includes us as fans. This includes the organization. Keep an open mind about where these guys slot in. Think non-traditional. If it is an opener, if it's Brazier starting a game, if it's Joe Kelly starting a game, and Clayton Kershaw coming in after him for 3 or 4 innings, Kersh, he doesn't need to start a game. Clayton, you do not need to start a baseball game for this team if you're not healthy. He's done that so much for this team, and we appreciate it, but we don't need that again because it tends to kind of work against the organization, works against the club, and then they put themselves in tough spots. So
yeah, that sounds really good. Starting an opener and Brazier starting a game sounds great against Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez. I like what you're thinking. All right, now let's get to last licks. All right, guys, we are down to 3 puppies of Boogie's litter. This is Priya. She's a baby girl. Priya, she's 4 months old, completely vaccinated. She's microchipped. She's learning all the good things. She's learning how to walk on a leash. She sleeps in her crate at night. She's a good girl. She's great with other dogs. She's good with cats, good with kids, good with chickens. Yes, we have tested these dogs with chickens and llamas and all kinds of farm animals. So if you have a farm, if you have space, have it in your heart, please reach out to Gidry'sGuardian.org. Hit me up on social to learn more about Priya, 4-month-old, perfect little girl. All right, Dodger baseball thought for the road. Not many teams are going to hit the 100-win mark, and the Dodgers may not do it. This would be their 12th consecutive postseason berth today. Would have to win out to reach 100 wins. So do we care, Clint, that their streak of 4 consecutive full seasons with 100+ wins is likely over? They have to win out all the way to get over 100 wins.
I don't care. 100 wins is fun. 100 wins is nice. If they're going to go out there and win 120 games, that's something that's fun. But I've seen 107 wins. I've seen 106, seen 104. That doesn't mean a World Series. 60 game season and going 42 and whatever it was, 42 and 12. That means a World Series. And I'm sorry I brought up the 60 game season. We tend to get in trouble when we bring that up here on the internet. But the most important words you said there, they can clinch another postseason berth, and that's the most important thing. They can do that today. They should do that today. First time. It's insane to know that it's the first time in his life that Shohei Ohtani will be playing in the postseason as a Major League Baseball player. That's going to be fun to watch. But do you care about 100 wins?
Not if it means getting bounced in the first round. Who cares? I'd rather win 85 wins in the regular season and get deep into the postseason. Obviously, winning 100 games in the past hasn't done anything. Again, it's who's playing the best baseball at the right time, who's healthy, and who's on their game. I mean, yeah, it's cool to say this would be the 4th straight year with 100 or more wins. It's great to say this is our 12th consecutive postseason berth that they should clinch today. But it doesn't matter when you're the Los Angeles Dodgers or the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox or the Cubs to a certain extent. It doesn't matter how many games you win. You are built as an organization to go deep into the postseason. So congratulations to the Brewers for clinching the division. Congratulations to the Yankees for clinching a postseason berth. Dodgers could very well be next to do so today. Again, I'm not convinced that the Dodgers win the division, and I'm not so certain that that's the worst thing in the world if they do or do not. That Padres series is gigantic.
Yeah. Yeah, the Padres series is going to loom large, and we know how much the Padres get it up immediately against the Dodgers. Luckily, it is at home for the Dodgers. They should be able to line up the rotation with the best they have in that series, but still, Padres are streaking. They're a very, very good ball club. They got a lot of good pieces in there, and they got the vibes going, and that's a team that really, really thrives on vibes, especially against the Dodgers. But that series is also bookended by 3-3 with the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
So the Dodgers, again, they control their own destiny right now. 3.5 game lead in the NL West. You control your own destiny, boys. Just go out there, beat the bad teams, beat the Marlins, party, be drunk on your flight back home. You don't play until 7:00 on Friday night. Have a good time. And we'll talk more about those Padres on Monday.
Yeah, we will. Speaking of more talking, what are you doing on All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas tonight?
Well, hopefully we're talking about the Dodgers clinching that postseason berth. So we'll be on, actually, just going to stick with my normal time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Myself, producer Kevin, will be talking about the team, talking more pitching, taking a bunch of comments as well. So, guys, tune in, All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas. That is I would appreciate your company.
All right, and Clint and I are back together on Thursday afternoon, getting you set for many things. I mean, what is today? Is today Thursday? Monday. We're going to be back on. I went to Post Malone last night. Lord, I went to Post Malone, and I am still asleep. So thank you, Posty, for putting on a good show at Fenway. All right, that's going to do it. Clint Pasillas, Alanna Rizzo, go Dodgers.
Bye.